The Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants are two of Major League Baseball's oldest and most storied franchises, and one of baseball's best rivalries this side of the Yankees and Red Sox. But did you know that for all the history between these two teams across over 100 years and two American coasts, one very important event is still missing from their history? These two teams have never faced one another in a postseason series. Until the introduction of the Division Series in 1995, the best fans could hope for was a tie-breaking matchup to decide who would go to the World Series. And two such classic tie-breaking matchups have occurred, including the series featuring Bobby Thompson's shot heard around the world that propelled the Giants to the World Series in 1951. But never have they actually met in a postseason series proper. That's not to say we haven't recently come agonizingly close either. A win in the NLCS in 2014 by the Dodgers or in 2016 by the Giants would have actually given us a postseason matchup at long last. Alas, it was not meant to be either time. And despite there being even more playoff rounds than ever in which these two teams could meet, they still never have. So sadly, we don't know who would come out on top in a postseason matchup, especially a high-pressure series like the National League Championship Series. Luckily for us though, there is a game called Out of the Park Baseball, and this game lets you simulate any kind of matchup that you can think of. So this got me thinking, which of the best teams of both the Giants and the Dodgers in the 2010s would win in a National League Championship matchup? Using Out of the Park Baseball, I'm going to set up a game and I'm going to help us find out. The first step in getting this matchup in place is to decide which in fact were the best seasons from the previous decade. For my deciding criteria, I use three things: the winning percentage for the season, the total WAR of the team's top 25 players, and the team's run differentials, or how many more runs the team scored than its pitchers allowed. If you're unsure about what WAR is, by the way, there's a link in the description so you can read more about this stat. For the Dodgers in the 2010s, the earlier part of the decade is fine, but this team picked up serious steam as the decade went on. So my focus really became choosing between the three final seasons of the decade, 2017 through 2019. Records-wise, the 2017 and 2019 teams both finished with a winning percentage over 600, making them immediately stand out. All three teams had a total WAR of 54.1 or higher, making this stat almost too close to call for these teams. And while the run differential between 2017 and 2018 was separated by only 4 runs, the 2019 team finished with an astounding 273 more runs scored than they allowed. These all make the 2019 team my choice to represent the Dodgers in this series. For the Giants, there were 3 obvious candidates for the decade: the 2010, 12, and 14 championship teams. Records-wise, these were the best winning percentages of the decade, with 2012 being the best, followed closely by 2010. In terms of WAR, the breakout 2010 team stands atop the list with a 47.7 WAR, with neither of the other teams compiling more than a 37. For run differential, the 2010 team shines once again with 114 runs, the best of the decade. A far cry from the 2019 Dodgers, but still the Giants' best of the 2010s for sure. So my pick for the Giants in this series is the 2010 World Championship team. To get started with this, I created a new historical replay in Out of the Park Baseball version 21 and based it in 2019. That way I had the Dodgers team by default and didn't have to do anything. I then imported the San Francisco Giants 2010 team roster and we were ready to go. Well, I could have gone the easy route with setting this up and done this either as a historical exhibition series or even set up and sim games individually themselves. I thought it might be an interesting exercise to see how a full season would play out with these two teams, and it honestly didn't disappoint. The Dodgers, as expected, won the division comfortably with 11 games, and in typical Giants torture fashion, they waited until the very end of this season to capture the second wild card and claim their ticket to the postseason as well. Heading into the playoffs, the Giants came up against the Pirates in the wild card game, and thanks to Madison Bumgarner, defeated them to move on to the division series, where they faced the Washington Nationals. They defeated the Nationals 3-1 to advance to the NLCS. Now, why does that sound so familiar?
The San Francisco Giants have defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates and advanced on to the National League Division Series.
Panic to Belt, and the Giants are going back to the National League Championship Series.
Oh well, I guess we'll never know. In their division series, the LA Dodgers defeated the Chicago Cubs to advance to the NLCS. So we have our what-if matchup. The 2019 Los Angeles Dodgers facing off against the 2010 San Francisco Giants. Let's go ahead and meet the teams. Looking at our team overview for the Giants, we've got Andres Torres leading off and playing center field. Pablo, the Kung Fu Panda Sandoval, is at third. We've got the Rookie of the Year, Buster Posey, behind the plate at catcher and batting third. Aubrey Huff at first base. Pat Burrell, who was a huge waiver wire pickup for the Giants in 2010, is batting fifth. Second baseman Freddie Sanchez will bat sixth. Cody Ross, who was a trade pickup at the trade deadline from Florida, will bat seventh. Edgar Renteria will bat eighth, and the pitchers will bat ninth. Pitching-wise, for the San Francisco Giants, Timmy the Freak Lincecum headlines the pitching rotation with a 15-9 record for the season. Matt Cain is in the number 2 spot, Jonathan Sanchez pitching third, and the rookie at the time, Madison Bumgarner, rounds out the rotation in the number 4 spot. The team also has the very talented bullpen consisting of Jeremy Affeldt, Sergio Romo, Santiago Casilla, and of course, the Beard himself, Brian Wilson, as the closer for this team. The 2019 Los Angeles Dodgers feature no less of a talented lineup, starting with center fielder Alex Verdugo leading off, third baseman Justin Turner hitting in the number 2 spot, right fielder Cody Bellinger hitting third, Jock Peterson, the left fielder, batting fourth, first baseman Max Muncy batting fifth, shortstop Corey Seager batting sixth, Enrique Hernandez at second base batting seventh, and catcher Will Smith rounding out the starting lineup in the number 8 spot. Hyun-Jin Ryu headlines this rotation with a 17-9 record on the year, Walker Buehler in the number 2 spot, Clayton Kershaw number 3, and rounding out the rotation, Kenta Maeda. And also a very talented bullpen with Julio Urias, Dustin May, and closer Kenley Jensen. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to sim some out-of-the-park baseball. Who will win the series? What will the final outcome be? Do you have any predictions? Sound off in the comments below and let me know what your pick is to win this series. Thanks for watching my first video of this brand new series of Out of the Park Baseball sim videos. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit that like button for me. I really appreciate it. And if you're not a subscriber of the channel, hey, consider subscribing. It only takes 1 second, helps the channel grow, and you can always change your mind and unsubscribe later. That's it for now. I hope everybody's well, stay safe out there, and I will see you again soon for some Out of the Park Baseball.